Hello to everyone that's joined so far. Just move this over a bit. How are we all doing? Great to see you legends in. Just repost this. There we go. Right. Let me get my screen on and we're ready to rock. How are we all doing? Is everyone feeling okay? Hope you are. Let me just bang. There we go. Afternoon, Stonksy. How we doing, mate? How we doing? Hope everyone's feeling okay. Rough 2 days in the market. So, yeah, I think obviously what we'll do is we'll obviously go through what's happened yesterday and today. 2 pretty brutal days in the market for sure. That thumbnail is hilarious. What of Sailor with the Mackies? Well, Sailor is now just 8% up on his bars. Just 8% up. 6 years. 6 years of buying. Wiped out. Almost. Yeah. How are we all doing? Let's let some people jump in. We'll be having, I think the tweet's going out pretty much now, so should have some people jumping in. We'll just let the stream fill up before we kick off, because I think there's a few important things to cover as well, alongside analysis. So yeah, let's let the stream fill up for a minute. Oh, look who it is. Hello, Justin. How are we doing, mate? Great to see you. Great to see you. How are things? Hope you're good. Good to see you jump in, mate. It's good to see you jump in again. John, good morning to you. Good morning. How are we all? Yeah, let's let the stream fill up. Yeah, so obviously, yeah, pretty brutal 2 days in the market, isn't it? And yeah, we have broke below the range. Market is. Oh, hey, you got Lee Shaw. Market is very interesting right now. It sure is. Yeah, it's very interesting. I think we've got a couple of interesting directions we could go from here, haven't we? I mean, obviously, first thing I'm interested in is whether the market comes and sweeps this wick, or just kind of leaves everyone on, like, well, not everyone, because I assume probably a lot of people are actually maybe looking into the 70s now potentially. But what I'm interested in is obviously if this wick is left untapped or not. I think that's probably the first thing to provide as a discussion point is, does the market leave that wick untapped? We come close, didn't we? We bounced around like $500 before it, which is interesting because obviously we haven't swept that November wick now or yet. But what we have had pretty much is a full clearance of downside liquidity relating to the past, kind of 2.5 months of price action. We've cleared all this out, haven't we? Yesterday we come and cleared this out. So you can see yesterday's wick come and took that wick, that one, and this one. So all them lows were cleared. But then obviously today we came back for a lot more, but we haven't took this one out yet. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that wick. Obviously, the idea that it doesn't get swept then relays to obviously a bigger bounce if we leave that behind. What what I'm kind of thinking is that one wouldn't be this from here. I think that one wouldn't be the bounce area, because what I think probably you'll get now is people filling the buy orders here. This is what I think anyway would make sense. You'll have people filling the buy orders here now, thinking, right, well, we'll come and clear that, and then maybe get an initial bounce, and then it'll just rip right through it, is what I'm thinking. I think it's time, maybe, that Sailor goes down to 0 unrealized P&L. I think that will be the point where obviously you'll get max fear, kind of max panic, and then that would probably create the right psychological conditions for a bottom to be put in. I think it just seems too easy now. Now, what you've got to remember is that the range. Let me just get rid of that Sailor, that measurement there. Good afternoon to everyone that's just jumped in. Who've we had? We got Crypto Davo, Jeff, and we got Neil. How are you all doing? Do make sure you drop a like on the stream, please. But what we still need to pay attention to is obviously the range and how price has behaved around this range since November. So obviously you got range high, range low. So what we obviously want to pay attention to is how price has behaved when it's exited the range. And we've only had that on one occasion, obviously, since this came into play in mid-November, which was this. Obviously, a fake out to the upside, a liquidity grab to the upside, which then created this fake out, obviously trapped longs and then ripped it back down. And then we just ripped all the way back down to the lower side of the range. Now, it's not out of the question that you get something like that onto the downside as well, because essentially, all price needs to do is reclaim 85k, and then on the daily for a daily close, not obviously low time frame PA. We need to close it on the daily, and then you're back within these conditions. Then exactly the same as when we broke out to the top. So obviously breakout here, things look bullish because obviously we've exited the range to the upside. But then, the reality is if you get back inside the range, then that reopens then full range trading, which then, as you can see, back inside the range, it seems, like a massive while off, coming all the way back down to 85k. We just broke out and stuff, but it turned out obviously to be a fake out. You get back inside the range, and then what does price do? Trades throughout the range, and then eventually tags the low here. And then, of course, we got a break to the downside. The idea that, you could do something like this and then regain it, and then again, price just re-enters the range. So then that then reopens the possibility to just seamlessly trade between these two levels without causing too much of a panic. Jeff says, am I the only one consolidating S coins? I just refuse to round trip or go down 85 to 90%. A 30% loss is much less. You on about Sonic? Are you on about Sonic, Jeff? S. But yeah, so that's the first thing to cover, is obviously we need to see what happens with price over the next couple of days. Are we going to get a repeat of this, but just to the downside, where price just obviously lets people get uber bearish and thinking that we're going to go lower and lower and lower, and then builds decent liquidity to the upside, and then rips up, regains the range, and then bang, we're inside the range, and then you can look to the idea of trading towards the range high. Or what could happen is obviously bounce back up, underside rejection, and then we start to sell off, and then obviously head back down. I reckon we'll either go to 100k from here and then have a crash down to 60k, or straight down to 60k, then have that rally up. Yeah, I mean, it seems like to be a reasonable a reasonable outlook, Neil. Stables, I reckon he means shit coins. Yeah, I mean, I think what you can probably say about coins is, if you were going to sell, then if you sell here, and again, obviously this isn't financial advice because it's a very sticky situation, isn't it? It's kind of like you just have to do what you think is right. But are you kind of giving into fear and panic if you sell here? You know, what would be your reason for selling here? Now, you could argue that you would be selling on a complete technical basis, which would be, you know, if Bitcoin, say, regains its range, then you buy back in. That could be obviously one thing you could look at. But I think really, I don't know. Is my honest answer. It's completely up to you, innit? Seeing the way precious metals rising does make you question your Bitcoin conviction. Well, have metals topped? Have metals topped? That, you know, I mean, look at this correction that we've got on gold and silver. I mean, look at that silver correction. It could definitely be the case that metals have topped. I mean, they've both put in pretty wild candles on the daily. You know, that's a high wave candle on gold, which typically you would look for to be a trend reversal, and a trend reversal it has been so far. So it's entirely possible that, you know, silver could have topped, gold could have topped, and that kind of bull market in metals is over. You know, it's entirely possible as well. Now, obviously, that does not then mean, right, all into Bitcoin, you know, that capital rotating out goes all in to Bitcoin. That obviously isn't going to be the case, because a lot of people that may have sold on metals may not be believers in Bitcoin. You know, they may be like, you know, traditional legacy investors. But it does obviously potentially free up a lot of capital that may rotate into Bitcoin from people that, you know, are looking for the next thing to rotate into. But that's obviously that's just a theory. What we could get on metals is, of course, just a correction. You know, you could just get a correction. We've seen it before, haven't we? You know, we got this correction in October into November. Gold went down 11%. I think we're probably around that now, aren't we? Yeah, so 11%. Doesn't mean it's going to be the same, but this is nothing that we haven't seen before. You know, gold from here all the way down to here. That was probably a bit more than 11. That was probably closer to 15. No, 11. So 11% does actually seem to be the case. But either way, doesn't necessarily mean that metals have topped. But it's always, you know, it's a possibility because no one knows for sure. I mean, silver traded beautifully, didn't it? I mean, the rejection on there on the daily. I mean, look at that today as well. You know, if you would have shorted silver anywhere towards these highs today, you know, that's a 15%, 18% drop towards the bottom on silver. Good morning, Brandon, Steve. Howdy. Justin says, so glad I sold everything months ago, apart from long-term Bitcoin, ETH, SOL, and BNB. Either way, I'll be accumulating all my bags, says Neil. Justin says metals nowhere near topped. And Jeff says Sol and Chippy are all I'm DCAing. I'm just consolidating others. Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at the Bitcoin chart and it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, would you just be giving into fear and panic if you sold here? You know, it's a possibility, isn't it? Not a certainty, but it's a possibility. Obviously, we don't know for certain. You know, if Bitcoin takes another 10% drop from here and altcoins get slashed another 25, 30%, then it would look like the right choice. But if this turns out to be a fake out, you know, around this range again, and then Bitcoin bounces hard, and then, you know, you've sold the bottom, you may feel like you've made the wrong choice. So it's it's just a case of you've always got to do what's right for you, but always use the chart and have a good long think about it. You know, have a good long think about what your next move is going to be, because obviously what we don't want is anyone to make any mistakes that they think, oh, you know, I should have put more thought into that or whatever, which is, of course, just where entire market psychology comes in, of the idea of panic, fear, but then obviously to the upside, you know, euphoria, greed. It all works the same. But yeah, I mean, let's have a look at some other levels, because obviously we know what we need to do to the upside now. literally, the upside is so easy. You just need to regain 85k on the daily. That's all you need to do. Regain 85k on the daily, and then head back into the range. So that's it. There's literally just one possibility for the upside, in my opinion anyway. You may disagree with me. Let me know in the comments. Do you disagree with me? What kind of level would you say is the region? And again, when I say level, I mean just that region. Obviously here, this is where we've created demand, isn't it? Now you could pull this down a bit. You may say 84k, but you're kind of splitting hairs there, aren't you? Basically what we want is just to see Bitcoin bounce back into the range wherever obviously you think the range is drawn. Personally, I'd just like to see 85k or above. That puts us nicely back into the region, obviously, where we've got previous daily closes and not WEEX. So, yeah, that's what I'd like to see anyway. So, let me know if you think otherwise. What kind of level would you like to see Bitcoin reclaim to maybe wipe out these fears? But while we are obviously breaking to the downside, it just makes sense to look at downside because we don't really have anything else to look for to the upside until it happens. So let's go to the weekly chart. Now, obviously, yeah, we've got the November low here. So I will annotate that into November low. So that's the November low. We know, we know that's potentially the next call of liquidity sweeping for Bitcoin, and then to see a reaction from there. Now, what we do have obviously below that is Sailor's entry, which is 76k. Now, what you can also drag across this alongside Sailor's entry, and again, this is completely subjective, but this area here, is obviously where we got weekly demand coming, and you may want to tag, maybe like say the weekly close and weekly open on this one, or just get as much of the wicks and candle bodies in as you can. But definitely kind of 78k down towards Sailor's entry. I would basically say 78 to 76k is an area of weekly demand for sure. This is obviously where we stopped, isn't it? We had it initially February 25 there, bang, pinned it, 78k. Then 10th of March, came all the way in, good absorption. Came again, end of March, again, held. And then on the 7th of April week, we got obviously liquidation down towards 74, and then really good weekly close. And then that, that solidified obviously the end of that drop, and then the start of the next leg up. So, we definitely got weekly demand down at 78, 76. So what you would potentially say is you would see a good bounce in there if you're looking at obviously to see a reaction from Bitcoin in demand. That's what you would typically want to see. So for us to melt down in a straight line doesn't seem like the most possible thing from there. If we did, that would show extreme bearishness and extreme selling pressure. That would obviously have to melt through a lot of buy walls and a lot of money sat obviously ready to defend the price down there. If we was to just melt through there, then it's a case of wow, this is getting quite messy now. Sailor's entry is not far away. It's like 8%, like 8% now, which is pretty wild, isn't it? But there we go. Now, so at the moment, that looks like the area where you could at least see a bounce from. Now, how big the bounce is obviously just depends, doesn't it? That could be the low, again, like we got here, the low, and then go on. Or it could just be a dead cat bounce. We could maybe come in here, bounce up, reject from there, and then maybe roll over again like that. So there's definitely a couple of possibilities, but this is one area I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on, 78 to 76k. And what I probably would say is, even if we was going to bounce in and around that area, I think it probably would make kind of good price action to just put the liquidation candle towards Sailor's entry, and then you get that headline then, don't you, of Sailor down to 0 P&L, retracing obviously everything that was unrealized, and then it's come all the way back down to 0 P&L, which would be the perfect cocktail to create mass hysteria, mass panic, mass fear, And I think that's probably where we'd see the most bearishness come in, which then would make the perfect cocktail to put below in and then go back up, which obviously would just be defending this. Now, of course, if we do go below there, then, we'll take it as it comes. But then again, you kind of reopen, don't you? This range that we was trading within. And we never actually really come down for a proper test, in my opinion, last time. So obviously this was in April and March, wasn't it, of last year? But, definitely what you can draw across there is SR that's not been tested yet on the weekly, for sure. This obviously big build-up of just weekly candles, wicks, bodies in this kind of 70k area here, as you can see there, which actually never got tested. We bounced a bit before, didn't we, at 74 there? So we basically bounced off that candle high and that candle high pretty much last time, and we never actually really come in for like a full weekly retest of this region instead. So it's definitely something to keep an eye out on. And if you go to the monthly, you can see obviously then comes in the argument for 60k. That's where that's obviously alongside the weekly as well. Obviously all this price action is on the weekly, but look at the monthly closes and opens around this 60k area. We had it in early 2021, we had it in late 2021, we had it in 2024, all basically the whole year. We consolidated for basically almost the whole year, didn't we, in 2024? And obviously look at the wicks, but look at the daily closes and opens all around 60k. Basically every single candle almost, well, every single candle did interact with the 60k level in some way, whether it was a wick or a candle body. But pretty much all of the opens and closes came in and around that 60k level. So that seems to obviously be a potential, and not even potential, a definite area where price is drawn to and price likes to interact. So what I would do, just to make it obviously, let me make that a bit better. We can make it really simple now. Obviously we've got that. So, you can come in from here and bounce. You could come in from here and bounce. Then, obviously, once you get back in here, you then reopen trading like any other range. You get back inside a range, you reopen trading within that range. And then, of course, if we re-enter sub 70, then, you're back in then the 70 to really, you could say all the way down to kind of like 57, 56-ish. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at here. So in my eyes, they're obviously the things to look out for to the downside. They'd be obviously what I'd be looking for. And again, you still have this option as well of just reclaiming the range, and then obviously this just being a trap and a fake out, and then obviously heading upwards. Let me know in the chat, what do you think is the most likely scenario? Let me actually label these so we can. I'll put before we do the. Actually, I won't do it because I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the chat. What do you think the most likely possibility of this is? Now, what I will do is I'll put two, because you can choose either. To be honest, you can choose a sweep and a November low, because we'll probably get some liquidation for sweeping a November low. I don't think it'll just be like just pin it anything. We'll probably get some liquidation, which probably wouldn't take it too far from coming into this grey box if it doesn't. So you can have that as number 2, and then you can have number 3 as the bounce from 70k area for retesting that SR that's not yet been tested, and then number 4 is obviously just complete fall through and reopening trading in that range. Let me know in the chat, 1, 2, 3, or 4. What do you think? On the daily, The measured move from that bear flag looked like it was 73k. That's where I'm thinking. Oh no, what that bear flag from the all-time high? Or what one are you thinking, Jeff? Because everyone sees this target at the price, maybe the market doesn't go after all. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it's entirely possible. Nick thinks once, and Nick thinks a reclaim of the range and then just rip it up and kind of, yeah, entirely possible. Yeah. Stonksy thinks too. So Stonksy thinks a bounce, in and around kind of 78, 76. Anyone thinking 3 or 4? Let me know. Does anyone think 3 or 4? Not yet. They don't anyway. Or not anyone. Not anyone. There's no shame. Don't be afraid to put 3 or 4. What is the range on 3? So the range, just basically in and around 70k. So number 1 is reclaiming 85k, and then obviously just heading back up inside this range. Basically just doing this again, but from the downside. We had fake out to the upside, reclaim the, drop back into the range, and then ran the full length of the range. Here again, you'd be looking at the same from the downside, fake out, trap, whatever you want to call it, liquidity run, and then up in there. But yeah, number 3 would be 70. I think you're being too bullish. I have lower 3. Well, yeah. Well, if you have lower, I would probably put you in number 4 then, mate, because obviously we would have to. You would think that price would spend a bit of time in here before going lower. So you're thinking, obviously, maybe lower in terms of a final checkpoint. Yeah, but I think probably. I mean, I don't know, but you would think that obviously price may move. Price may move more. You think that it would test in here first, wouldn't it, before heading lower? 30k nuke it. I mean, 30k would be a great buying opportunity, wouldn't it? Imagine that. Imagine that. That would be 76%. So that would actually just be typical with obviously previous bear markets, wouldn't it? And that would then obviously say that no, this time indeed wasn't different. Hope all well, guys. Yes, Scottish, and of course, Scottish raises a good point. Yeah, I do hope everyone is doing okay. I hope no one's feeling too down or too kind of just feeling bad about the market or the price action. If you are, obviously, take a bit of time to kind of clear your mind and take a breather. There's nothing worse than if you're feeling bad about the market or whatever, and then trying to force it upon yourself to do something. Any decisions that you do make, just make sure you've had a proper think about it and stuff. If you are, a bit down in the dumps about the market and the price action, honestly, at some point it will get better. It may get worse before it gets better, or it might get better from here. But, if you're looking maybe, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, obviously, typically it will get better unless, it's kind of in some new paradigm, but it doesn't seem that we are. It seems like, obviously, for now, we're sticking with exactly the 4-year cycle. For now, anyway. Scottish says, send it to 77k. Justin says, I want up before down. Jeff says, got to run. Have a great day and enjoy Free Chippy Friday. Jeff, thank you for joining, mate. Appreciate you. Have a good one and have a good weekend. And I'll see you soon. Yeah, so I think all in all, it's likely that one of these will play off. But it's good to know. It's good to get everyone's opinion on things. It's good to get, and I think probably another thing to obviously bear in mind is that you've also got to look at what's happening with other markets as well, haven't you? You've got to bear in mind what's happening with other markets when we're looking at crypto. The S&P still green from 4.5k on the weekly there. Very nice. So you got to have a look at what's happening with other markets, haven't you? Now, obviously, with this, if this takes a massive turn and, done something like this, or just took, a longer drawn out flush to the downside, then obviously you've got to account for that in the Bitcoin price action as well, haven't you? Because one thing we know is that Bitcoin cannot run from the S&P, it can't run from NASDAQ, it can't run from the stock market. Alt season when after Q2? Honestly, I have no idea for you. I genuinely can't give you an answer to that now. I mean, first and foremost, you need to see Bitcoin strength, don't you? So you can only really look at, really good times for altcoins once we get Bitcoin going. That's all we can do, innit? You need to see Bitcoin move first. You need to see Bitcoin strength. So I'll be honest with you, I'm not really trying to predict the future, and I'm not trying to look too far ahead with that. I would rather see Bitcoin take the lead and Bitcoin show its hand and Bitcoin show strength before even considering alt season. Is my opinion anyway. Is my opinion. But obviously, what we want to look at, we need to see the S&P, keep up. Obviously, the potential damage is if this kind of tops out and starts to take a downward spiral. That's when, obviously, we could be in some serious shit. What's this doing pre-market? Down at 140. Jesus Christ. This thing is toast, isn't it, at the moment? I mean, it's down 74%. Now, what I would say on MSTR is this thing has, in the past, typically front-run Bitcoin. So what I'm really interested in is to see what happens to MSTR when it enters this region here. Because on the previous big moves, it has front-run Bitcoin. So in 2024, it front-run the Bitcoin breakout. Bitcoin only started to break out once Trump won the election, so on this candle. Where, as you can see, MSTR had already broke out, already gone on a run, and already started to expand. Same for the downturn. If you look, the S&P, MSTR topped out way before Bitcoin and started to leg down way before Bitcoin did, and actually bottomed out before it as well. And then the same in, the same for the summer. It ran, didn't it, before Bitcoin started to run. Well, actually, to be fair, in the summer, it basically ran alongside it. But then it definitely started to sell off before it as well. You can see MSTR's sell-off really started to start on the 14th of July that week, when Bitcoin's only really started after we topped out at 126k, was it, in October, which, as you can see, was basically here. So MSTR had already began its correction. So what I'm interested to see is if we get the same pattern, kind of MSTR starts to front run the Bitcoin bottom. Now, I'd really be interested in it around kind of $110-ish. So from there, unfortunately, we do need to see it. Oh, that is the... Unfortunately, we do need to see it drop kind of like another 20%-ish. Then I'd be interested in it. I mean, that's your risk reward there, isn't it? That's your risk reward coming back into demand from 2024. That's where it is. CC Canton being very strong, and 8 believe breakout soon. Dave, on the next market run, altcoins will blow up before Bitcoin, just FYI. Is that what you think, mate? Yeah. Yeah, but the problem is, Steve, is that you can really you can really kind of be too early on something like that, can't you? You can really be too early on something like that, because if you start trying to prep ahead, you know, before you know it, you can find yourself minus 30% on altcoins. So already blown up and died. A lot have, to be fair, haven't they? A lot have. But yeah, yeah. I mean, that takes it to minus 80%. I will be very interested in MSTR there. I'll be honest. I'll be very interested in it there. So I will be looking. I'd be looking to position in and around 110 for sure. And then, because you've got good, you've got good risk reward as well. Kind of, if it starts to break below 100, then it's fucking toast, innit? Like, it is so toast if it starts to break below there. I mean, the next point of call would kind of be like $60, wouldn't it? So I am very interested in it at 110. Just a game of patience. And again, we may see that front run on Bitcoin from MSTR. Top 100 will pump, and then it will dump and die 98%. Too many alt devs want their money. Do you mean die another 98%? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's really difficult to look at altcoins, isn't it? As a wider aspect, especially if you're looking at the top 100. Kind of like, is there actually that many things worth buying apart from Sol, ETH, hype? Add any others that add maybe a handful of others. It's kind of, apart from that, like, what actually really is worth buying? I mean, for me, like, yeah, I'm just, what's hype at now? I really annoyed myself. I missed the hype move. I mean, I plotted it out lovely in looking for expansion after sweeping that low. Well, I mean, it's making its way back down now. I would love to buy hype in here, in that SR. Don't know if we'll ever get it, but I would love to buy hype at like $17. Yeah, all day, every day, absolutely. I would love, yeah. I think probably in terms of picking altcoins, out of the big ones, if you say like, what would you pick for next cycle? Because either way, we're kind of running into like the next cycle talk, aren't we? Now that's obviously whether you believe that we're in the 4-year cycle and we're now in a bear market, and then we're going to obviously take a downturn, or you think we're in a super cycle, which obviously then would tie into a new cycle, because obviously we've never seen that before. So when I say new cycle, it could cover up or down. So obviously, for anyone that remains bullish, I'm not talking about just bear market and then restart it. It could start a super cycle, and then obviously go from there. But definitely, for the next one, if hype got $17, that would be my pick. I would pick hype as my kind of altcoin to ride into the next cycle. Not financial advice, of course, but yeah, just kind of patiently. And to me, that doesn't look like a bottom. Like, that doesn't look like a convincing bottom. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but it just seems like too rushed, and kind of that move on it just seems like too much of just like a liquidity blowout. Like, right, let's just run all the stops to the upside. Where, I mean, to be fair, it did it last time, didn't it? That's a very similar formation to obviously what we got here. So maybe it is the bottom. I don't know. CC worth a buy. What's that? CC. Link $8. Andy saying Link $8 would be unbelievable. how is Stonksy doing on silver? We'll have a look now. Let me just cover Link quickly. Because Link $8 would be a gift from God himself. Because that is literally just retest of that big mega long range that we got there. I love Link. Link is such a good trading altcoin. If anyone ever wants an altcoin to trade, and you don't want to say pick Sol and you don't want to pick ETH, honestly, Link trades so rationally in the market. Like, it trades like just as you would, just as you'd think it would when you just label, you know, the SR and stuff like that. Like, it just trades like that, in my opinion. But I mean, $8 would be incredible. 4-year cycle would mean Bitcoin bottom around September, given bull market top is typically 12 to 13. But yeah, because come September, we're only about 18 months away from the halving then as well. The halving's 2 years. 2 years in March or 2 years in April. So, you know, come September, we're about 18 months away from the halving, which really, you know, kind of the 1 year before the halving is when things really start to kick off, isn't it? So, yeah, I think probably in and around that time, you know, you may have to just maybe stick it through a shit end to the year, perhaps. You know, maybe it extends to a shit Q4. But I think, you know, sticking around to maybe the start of 2027 is obviously when we should then see a refresh in the market. Now let's have a look at silver. Minus 15%. God, look at that weekly candle on silver. Look at that weekly candle on silver. That is horrific, isn't it? I mean, in itself, that looks like a blow-off top candle on the weekly. I mean, look at the size of it compared to previous silver candles. It's just full. You're just full on silver euphoria, that. Let's see. On the daily, we exited the upper bands and then snapped back in on this candle perfectly. So obviously that's one to watch out for. You know, you can see snap into the upper band, snap back down. So on silver, let me just zoom out for you, my friend. So if you're looking at kind of the past couple of weeks, we got a bit of choppiness, didn't we? So we went into the red, and then we caught this pump here, and then came back down. Then we got a bit of choppiness in and out of a couple of reds and greens. We then caught this pump from 82 all the way up towards 95. And then this one from 93, 94-ish up to 116. But then we did obviously get this one as well. Now, this is the good thing about Stonksy, is what I think obviously a lot of people don't typically tend to pay attention to, is obviously limiting your losses and you know, making sure that you get out of a losing trade when possible. So obviously we had this one, which was a great one, you know, catching this run all the way to all-time high. Brilliant, you know, really nice move on silver, that. But then you see this one here where obviously Stonksy got out of it for an hour and then reopened the green one, and then obviously ended up getting out of it down here. So obviously first sight, you would say probably that looks like a bad trade, wouldn't you? But then one thing you've got to consider is obviously risk management and limiting your losses. Now, Stonksy got out of it here because obviously the momentum was continuing to the downside, where it's obviously ended up going a lot lower since then. So the fact that it got out of it and limited the loss, you know, obviously missed out this candle, and this candle of sell pressure, and avoided the drop to 97. While obviously that was a losing trade on the hourly in terms of the background, it actually stopped it from becoming a lot worse by getting out. But yeah, that's what it's like on silver. On gold, again, let's see. So on gold, the background was in from 4,660. Rode it all the way up and ended up closing it at 5,100. But obviously did ride it all the way up to 5.6. And then we're getting kind of a bit of indecision now, obviously, as it's beginning to consolidate. But yeah, that's what it's looking like on gold as well. Currently in a red, but you may get a bit of choppiness. You know, you may get a bit of choppiness like we saw on silver here, where it's just chopping in and out while the next move happens. Bitcoin back towards 83k now, so that's what it's looking like on Bitcoin as well. So got this one, drop down, and then bounce back up. You got this one, and that's kind of like that gold one, isn't it? If you look at that gold one, although it's just gold, sorry, was it gold? Whatever one we looked at then, I can't remember. Was it gold or silver? Where it was in, it was gold, wasn't it? Yeah, where it was in the green, and then yeah, and then obviously just closed out. They kind of same, opens the green. Yes, obviously, that's down about 1.5K from the entry. That's a losing trade. But then if you notice, look, out of the green into the red, and then catches all the drop from 88K down towards 81, still red now at 83. And then, again, avoids being green when this drop happens. So this is obviously, a situation where someone might just keep longing and praying, and then eventually get stopped out or liquidated. Obviously, Stonksy just got out of that green, closed it as a loss. It happened, but then obviously got into the red and then caught that bearish momentum there. Sol, same thing on Sol. You can see it happen again there. Losing trade, yeah, but then flipped, bang, done. Being a few doing that. Yeah, it's just it's a volatile time in the market. It's a volatile time in the market. You will get it. You'll get it just because of the volatility. But it's better to avoid bigger losses, isn't it? It's better to take a small loss than avoid a bigger loss. Obviously, what a lot of people struggle with sometimes is just the kind of psychology around just closing something for a loss and the idea of being wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong as long as you know you're wrong, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with taking a losing trade. You're never going to have 100% hit rate. But one thing a lot of people struggle with is obviously just the idea that they're wrong and, the trade just isn't right. And then, of course, that leads to maybe adding more margin or adding a bigger position size and then eventually getting stopped out or liquidated. Nothing wrong at all with taking a losing trade, and there's nothing wrong at all with taking a loss. It's just obviously how much do you limit your loss. But yeah, Bitcoin's hanging around here. What I do need to do, Nick, you never reminded me about the poll. Oh, Nick, I'm shocked. Let me get the poll up quickly. There we go. So direction on US Open. Do make sure if you haven't, drop a like on the stream, please. Also, if you haven't already, do make sure that you check in the YouTube channels for the new videos. This was a great video that Wiz put out yesterday on CZ. Look at the views on that. Go on, Wiz. Look at the views on that. Do make sure you go and watch Wiz's video. Wiz is putting out daily videos Monday to Friday. So, a new video going out all through the week. So do make sure you're tuning into the Crypto Saving Expert channel and bell. It's not time yet, Nick. We've got 10 minutes. Go vote on the poll first. Go vote on the poll. Yeah, do make sure you tune into the Crypto Saving Expert channel and, watching Wiz's videos. Yeah, like I said, yesterday was a fantastic video, but, Wiz's content is absolutely great. And, yeah, he's putting out daily videos. I am putting out videos every Tuesday and Thursday. So do make sure. You see I changed the name as well to just Stonksy, not Stonksy Indicator. Yeah, do make sure you go and check out my videos as well. Yeah, I'm putting out videos every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you haven't watched my video yesterday, please do after the stream. If you found yourself with some time on your hands after the stream or tonight or whatever, I would really appreciate it if you go and watch the video because, yeah, really working on, the quality of the content and just making the videos entertaining and informative on the most pressing matters that we've got in TradFi and in crypto. So if you haven't, please do go watch the video and try and watch it the full way through if you can at the end and put in a secret emoji on all of the videos. So those people that watch to the very end will be able to put into the comment section that emoji and I know exactly who's watched to the end then. But yeah, please do if you can. It's only 6 minutes long, or if you don't want to give me 6 minutes of your time, that's more than fine. Just try and watch 3 minutes or 4 minutes. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, please do drop a like and comment. I want to know what you guys think of the videos. So yeah, make sure make sure daily videos on the CSE channel. Tuesdays and Thursdays videos on the Stonksy channel. Let's go down to the 5-minute chart and see what's happening. Oh, so there you go. So we got one in real time here. We got one in real time. Stonksy has just gone green on the 5-minute chart, and we have had the arrow come in as well. We've had that double confirmation that we like to look for. Obviously, the last time we got a double confirmation on the 5-minute, we got the capture of the big massive drop. So the 5-minute has been doing work. The 5-minute, you know what? We haven't talked about the 5-minute a lot recently. So anyone that's new on the channel, the 5-minute has always been my favorite time frame to use alongside the 1 hour. But yeah, I've always looked at the 5-minute. But the one thing that we do look for on the 5-minute most of the time is the double confirmation, which is the background color followed by the arrow soon after. And then we call that a double confirmation. Because on the 5-minute, it tends to work really nice. You can see on this one, we didn't get the double confirmation. But on this one, we've had the 5-minute green background. And we've had the 5-minute bullish arrow. So we've got the double confirmation on the 5-minute. So hot off the press there for everyone watching. Let's see what Stonksy does from here with this 5-minute double confirmation. Hello, Sean. How are we doing? Do you want an exclusive? Of course I do, mate. Go on. Go on, give it me. What I'm going to do is, before we get US Open, I'm just going to run to the toilet and I'm going to make another cup of coffee. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a few minutes. Let's watch this play out live as well as we get US Open. In the meantime, make sure you drop a like, stick around. You know, you got a couple minutes to go toilet yourself or whatever. And then, of course, we got US Open in 8 minutes. So I'll be there and back before then. And then, yeah, let's see what we got on US Open. But Stonksy is green on the 5-minute and got the bullish house. So let's see what happens from here. Oh, Sean says, I got my money back from BlockFi today from the FTX. So UK clients are getting repaid as of now. Interesting, mate. I tell you what. Do you mind sharing? Not the amount, of course, you know, because that's completely private. But what did you get in terms of percentage? Like, what did they pay you out? Did they pay you out with the value of the assets at the time of November 2022? Or have they paid you out a bit more? Like, what have you got back in terms of, you know, the value? Did you get like all of the value back that it was worth in November 2022? Or have you been given back a portion of it? Or have you been given back a portion of what it would be worth now? Well, that's great to hear, mate. That is hot off the press. Thank you for that. I'll be back in just a minute. Right, told you I'd be back for US Open, and here I am. Let's close out the poll. Ooh, got a bit of a shiver then. So the poll closed at 50-50. So Sean says your Bitcoin, a third, and 10 ETH were worth 17k. Got your 17k back, which will be worth about 16 crypto. So it's shit, mate. At least you got it back. You know, at least you got it back. I mean, I suppose you know what, Sean? You could look at it a few ways, I think, for me, and I'll tell you why, which will probably make you feel a lot better about it than this, because this is actually true. Hang on, we're about to get US Open, so I haven't got the bell. I'm going to get the bell. I'll get the bell on the weekend. Ding, 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 ding. Right, got US market open. But what I would say, Sean, is firstly, you are right. At least you got it back. So at least you got 17k back. What did you get it paid into, by the way? Did they pay it into your bank, or did they pay it in stables? What did they end up giving it you? So I think that's the first thing. Is you're right. You know, glass half full. You got it back. But what I also would say is, Sean, which will probably make you feel a bit better about the whole situation, is you don't know. Well, to be honest, I don't know you and your outlook. You might be like a Bitcoin and ETH maxi, and you may have just only ever held that. Maybe you only ever hold Bitcoin and ETH, and you're just kind of like a Bitcoin ETH maxi, and that's it. Which at that standpoint, I don't really have another positive thing to say to you apart from the fact that you got your money back. But what I would say is, over the past 3 years, you don't know the decisions you would have made with that Bitcoin and ETH, do you? So you don't know what you would have done with it. And I think probably one positive to take from it is you could have at some point sold that and rolled it into something else, like a meme coin, or, you know, you could have diversified into, you know, mid-cap altcoins or even larger cap altcoins. And they could be basically worth half, or, you know, maybe even close to like 80 to 90% down on them. So obviously I don't know your outlook on it. I don't know whether you're just a Bitcoin and ETH maxi, which at that point then obviously it would have been better for you to actually have that. But over the past 3 years, you know, you may have chose to be like, right, I think alt season's coming. I'm going to go and put it into this altcoin or this altcoin or this altcoin. And then, you know, they could have gone minus 60, 70, 80%. And then that 17k that you've got back now may have actually ended up at like 5 or 3 or 0. So I think that's probably another positive outlook in it, is at least you got that money back, and at least kind of you've not been able to roll that into a shitter that's just gone to 0 or something. So yeah, that's another way to look at it, mate. But yeah, really happy for you. And so many phishing emails, but got there in the end. I'm happy enough. I would have gambled on shitcoins and been 99% down. Exactly. Well, that's it, mate, isn't it? That's it. And that's a good way to look at it, is, you know, don't get caught up on the fact that, you know, you would have had 60k now. You know, like you say, unless you're a strong Bitcoin and ETH maxi and you refuse to go into other altcoins, you know, you could have ended up minus 99% with that money. So at least you've got it back. Bitcoin's heading to the upside as well. So this 5-minute move at the moment is looking really nice. Hey, Tantana, how we doing? Still Link Marine. Also, what's going on with copper? Mate, I'll have a look at copper now, but what I would say is, if you do want to know what's going on with copper, for anyone else that's just joined, do make sure you come and check the Stonksy channel for videos. I'm putting out videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm putting a lot of effort into them and trying to make them the best that they can be in terms of being entertaining, informative, and just generally covering what's going on. So please do come and watch the videos if you haven't. Try and watch them all the way through. I'm playing a little game where I put an emoji at the end where obviously you comment it, so I know that you've watched it all the way through. But if not, just try and watch like 3-4 minutes of them if you can. Drop a like on them, I'd really appreciate it. But mate, if you want to know what's going on with copper, Wiz put out a video on the Crypto Saving Expert channel about copper last week. Really in-depth one as well. This one. Copper will be the best trade of 2026. That video is fantastic. So for anyone else that's interested in copper as well and what's just generally going on with metals, go and have a look at that video that was put out. Really informative, 14 minutes of just pure research in alpha. So go and we'll check that out. But let's actually have a look at what's going on with the price of copper. So not too much relative to other altcoins. It's actually strong in it today. Not altcoins, metals. Down 3%, but palladium's -8, platinum's -12, gold's -5, and silver's -13, basically. So, is CSE any good? What do you mean in terms of the YouTube channel? Fantastic. Wiz puts such effort into it. The platform's great, yeah. So obviously the platform, I'll show you the platform now, but also obviously if you haven't, you can come and join the CSE Discord as well, which obviously the platform's great. News articles go up every day. It's got an academy where you can do some free courses. There are some courses that you can do with just creating a free account, but CSE Plus is obviously where members of CSE Plus come in and chat. You get access to all the other courses, but the main thing is obviously get into the Discord. TMG hosts town halls and AMAs on there, so it's a really good place to just talk trading, talk everything else. So this is really cheap. So if you want to just come and join the Discord, it's 100 build monthly. So it's just on a monthly rolling thing as well. So yeah, the monthly is just 100, to join the standard community plus. So come and join it for a month and see what you think, mate. At the end of the day, it's just a monthly rolling thing. So you're not tied into any contract or bullshit or anything like that. It's just a monthly rolling plan. So you come join and you're free to stay as long as you want or go whenever you want. Bosco says it's great, mate. Yeah, there's a lot of people in this chat that are in the CSE Discord. But yeah, TMG, he's been putting some gold trades in as well at the moment. Obviously, taking advantage of the gold volatility. This week he's been putting in some gold trades, which we're doing on Prime XBT. So you can find a link. Anyone else that wants to join in on gold trading or trading FX pairs or stocks, link to Prime XBT is in the description where you can do that. Obviously, there's not that many places in crypto where you can actually use USDT to trade TradFi, but you can do that on Prime. That's in the description, so do check that out. But yeah, come have a look, mate. Yeah, 100 build monthly. You get full access to everything on the website then as well. So if you want to do any of the courses, you can. But if you just want a place to obviously just hop in, talk charts and obviously join TMG's AMAs and stuff like that, it's all there for you. But yeah, copper is holding up better than the rest. Let's have a look at Bitcoin now on that 5 minute. Let's see what we're getting on that 5 minute. So we did go up a bit higher. So when I mentioned obviously that it was open on the 5 minute, I think we was on this candle, weren't we? I think it had just come in. So it's already a little bit up from there. I heard that there is some great coaching. Yeah, so there has been a little bit of a change to that in terms of, you're on about the premium option, aren't you? So what I would say is join on the Community Plus plan, which will obviously get you entry in there. And then TMG put some update videos in there about that. So what I would recommend to you is you just join on the Community Plus plan for now. Sorry, man. No, it's all good, mate. It's all good. Don't worry. What I would recommend is you just join on the Community Plus plan for now, and then you can then hear it. Obviously, you can then have a look at exactly what's changed around the premium, and in terms of obviously that aspect of the premium that's labelled. So that's what I would say. Yeah, just hop in on the Community Plus plan, mate, and then if needed, I'll direct you to exactly where obviously you can watch and read about them updates that has been made to the premium in terms of that aspect of it. But yeah, it's come and have a look at it, mate. So yeah, Bitcoin is pushing to the upside now. So we're nicely up from that double confirmation that I mentioned. We're nicely up from that double confirmation. We're pushing. Did Trump announce Fed pit yet? I've only just got on PC. Yes. It's I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's this guy. Hang on. Kevin Walsh. I bookmarked it before. Yeah, Kevin Walsh. Kevin Walsh. So yeah, that's the next nominee. Yeah, that's what's been reported today, anyway. I actually haven't seen any. I haven't looked for any like direct like CNBC headlines or whatever. But that's what's been tweeted out by a few people, so I assume that is correct, and it is Kevin Walsh. But yeah, Bitcoin's pushing nicely to the upside now. Out of interest, while we got that live on the stream, did anyone actually follow that Stonksy indication then? Did anyone actually go and follow that with that live then when Stonksy gave that double background green confirmation? And we saw that it had down here. It was around this candle, weren't it? This candle, so it would have been around 83k. So it's nicely up since then. I don't know much about him, but from what I've heard, he likes rate cuts, but doesn't like money printing. He likes Bitcoin. Yeah, he likes Bitcoin. That's why I bookmarked these before. He likes Bitcoin. This is a video of him saying that Bitcoin is the newest, coolest software that will allow us to do things we could never have done before. And then also on here, he said, if you're under 40, Bitcoin is your new gold. So he's very pro Bitcoin, which is interesting to see. But yeah, trading for life. If you end up joining, mate, make sure you tag me in the Discord. Obviously, my name is just @Dave, and then you'll see me come up. Just let me know if you end up joining. It'd be great. It'd be great to know that you've got in there. If you end up jumping in, tag me and just say you made it from stream. It'd be great to know. Yeah, nice push up from open on Bitcoin so far. In terms of Sol, ETH, they're getting nice pushes up as well. So the S&P's rallying on open too. MSTR's pushed up a bit. We're not looking too bad at the moment. I mean, really, yeah. What will come is obviously the big test of kind of this underside of the range, won't it? That will be the big test of the underside of the range. But yeah, for now, looking quite good. That nice open. This is what we want to see. Oh, got something in my eye. Yeah, nice open so far. And we're carrying on pushing. We're carrying on pushing. We'll probably see a lot of these as well. It won't take much. You see this sea of red that we've just got, just like everything being red. It actually won't take much for that to all turn green, will it? Like, things will start to squeeze if Bitcoin carries on squeezing. Can you ask TMG to check it, mate? Yeah, there's loads. Rick, there's loads. He knows that. We're well aware that there's a fake account of him. There's fake accounts of me. There's fake accounts of Spud. Just block them. Just block them all. There's fake. I think there's a few, to be honest. I think there's a few fake TMGs. I think there's about 3 of me. I think there's about 3 fake ones of myself. There's fake ones of Spud. The best thing to do, if you want to know that it's a genuine account, Literally, the best thing to do is actually go into the Discord, find me, TMG, Ross, and then obviously click on it. When you're actually in the Discord, I'm not on about just Discord, I mean in the server, because obviously then it will pull up our roles. So for instance, if I go click on Spud now in the Discord, one, it'll obviously tell you his actual username. So if I click on Spud here, there, Spud. So click on Spud, obviously it tells me his username, Web3 Spud, but also it's got the tags. So it's got obviously expert, premium, CSE plus, verified. Obviously, you know that that's Spud because it's in the Discord and he's also, you know, got all the tags. Dave SCE. Yeah, that's a fake one. Yeah. So my username on Discord is just Dave CSE. Just literally just Dave CSE. I'll type it in the chat now. So that's mine. I need to change it, to be honest. That's just obviously from when I set it up. I need to change it to something cooler. But yeah, that's mine. But yeah, there's so that one that you've just said there, coding Dave SCE _, that's a fake one. Yeah, you know, there's fake ones of all of us. You know, there's fake ones of Spud. There's probably fake ones of Wiz now, I think, as well. I think there's a fake one of SMFC as well. Yeah, someone really likes to try to look. But yeah, the best thing to do is obviously if you want to, you know, direct message any of us, Rick, is either go into the Discord and actually find, you know, one of, you know, Spud, whatever, and click on it, because obviously then that'll show you, obviously, one, that, you know, it's in the server, and two, obviously they'll have all the tags, or just tag, you know, if you want to speak to Spud, just tag him in the Discord and say, can you DM me? But you can get his username from in there. But yeah, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing. There are more than one. Yeah, there's loads. I think there's probably about 3 or 4 of each. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, you can't shut them down or whatever. You've just obviously got to tell people and just hope that, you know, they obviously realise. But it'll be obvious, because the way that they'll approach you as well will just sound stupid. Like, just not how me, Spud, or TMG would message anyway. TMG wouldn't message anyone one-on-one anyway, like that. He wouldn't just randomly pop up to you saying, how's your day going, or something like that. You know, he puts everything in the Discord for everyone to see. So instantly you know it's a scammer. The same for myself and Spud. You know, you know by the way they approach it as well that it's just complete and utter scam. But yeah, just part of life, innit, mate? You know, it's just, unfortunately, we're just in that world. You know, like the scammers all around the world, isn't there, with anything? You know, people try and scam people from bank accounts, try and scam people in real life, face to face. Like, crypto's no different. Where there's money to be made illicitly, you'll always get scammers and criminals. And unfortunately, yeah, it's no different. But yeah, Bitcoin dropped, but it's actually recovered quite well so far. It's up to 83,600. So that double background confirmation, we saw it in its early days, didn't we? We saw it in its early days as it had just come in. And we are already nearly, you know, about $700, almost $1,000 up from that. So for anyone that took that, riding on that Stonksy, well done. But that's a live example. You know, we don't get it too often, do we? Because obviously we're only on stream for about an hour and a half a day. So we don't get the opportunity too often to actually see like a change happen live, and then obviously get the volume and the volatility to kind of push price along to speed it up a bit. But on this occasion, we've been lucky enough to actually watch it live. So there we go. And that's a good call in itself. You know, it's pushed up nicely. So nice, you know, treat it as a scalp. Done. Job done. Very nice. So there we go. But yeah, Florin, great to see you as well. How are you doing? What's everyone doing over the weekend? And if anyone got anything interesting on tonight or over the weekend? There are 24 people watching, so big thank you for tuning in. Do make sure you drop a like. Make sure you're subscribed as well. And yeah, please do come and check out the new videos that are going out every week. Wiz is uploading new videos every day on the CSE channel. Go check that out. And myself, I am pushing new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, putting a lot of effort into them. So would really appreciate it if you could watch them. And if you can, watch them all the way through and make sure you leave a comment as well. It would really massively help me out. And it's good to know, obviously, that you guys are enjoying it. It does look like, as well, we're starting to hit something in the algorithm, potentially, because the views are starting to take off compared to previously. A bit, anyway. Well, yeah, that one got a good one, didn't it? That was good. So, yeah. No plans for this weekend. Do you have any plans? Not really, mate, to be honest, no. Not really much going on this weekend, to be fair. I don't think I have any plans, actually. Need to get my house finished. So, be in there doing some clean-up work. Now, you know, plaster's done all upstairs, so was in there a bit yesterday cleaning up. Probably have to go in there at some point over the weekend, do an hour or two of cleaning one of the other bedrooms. It's just trying to get rid of the dust and stuff, innit? It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare trying to get rid of the dust and stuff. But we'll get there slowly. So on my side, that's pretty much it, really. Nothing real else going on. What about everyone else? Anyone else got anything interesting going on? Do let me know. Yeah, big thank you for joining so far as well, everyone. 23 viewers live is really good. You doing painting yourself? I can give you painting tips if you need, especially equipment. No, mate, I've got someone doing it, someone that we know. Do you know what? Honestly, through getting people that I know, luckily enough, I know pretty much everyone to do each thing. And I reckon by the end of obviously being done with the renovation, I reckon I'll have probably saved myself about 15 grand in trade work. Like, honestly, like the biggest saving by far has been getting someone that I know to do a rewire. That was buttons compared to obviously what it normally costs. And not like a botch job rewire either, like a proper rewire done professionally. But luckily enough, obviously, someone that I know that was you know willing to do it as a favour. So got that done at honestly like a massive fraction of the cost of what you'd normally pay for a rewire. But yeah, I mean, just getting people that I know to do things, I reckon, has probably saved me by the end of it about 15 grand in trade fees. So yeah, luckily enough, it's all about obviously who you know, isn't it? At the end of the day. Sorry, I was just staring into space then. Sorry, I was daydreaming. Knowing plumber and electricians are key. Always good to keep those guys. Yeah, and joiners as well. You know, one of my best mates is a joiner, and he's been really good to me as well with what he's been charging as a day rate instead of obviously charging me full whack. And you know, stuff like obviously when he comes around to doing the kitchen as well, he's just going to do it on day rate instead of charging like, you know, 2K to fit a kitchen. So yeah, luckily enough. So yeah, it's all about, you know, what type of friends you have, or you know, just people that you know. So yeah, it's wild, isn't it? I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing when doing a reno isn't even actually what things cost. It's the labor in it, the paying people. You can kind of you go into it knowing, you know, things are going to cost a lot, like a new kitchen, new bathroom. They're going to cost flooring, but it's the labor to pay people to do things is really what the cost is. So it is all about who you know, and obviously if they're willing to not screw you over. But Bitcoin is now taking a dive back to the downside. So a reversal of that open pump, and look at that wick on the hourly. So we've just come and cleared out. Oh, tell you what, if anyone's ever looking for anything interesting on the chart, a bit of alpha there for you. The market does not like equal highs or equal lows. Just a little bit of alpha there for you. You ever see something like that? You see that there, and I didn't really look at this on the hourly before that. But you can see all them highs are equal. Now it doesn't have to be 4 highs in a row. It can be 2 highs. It can be, or it can be 2 highs or lows. You know, it could be 3. But the market really goes after equal points where wicks are, so high or low. And as you can see, obviously, it's gone after them 4 equal highs there and cleared them out. Same for this here. You can see them equal lows there, can't you? Basically, no, that's that there. Them two, not so much, because they're directly next to each other. Like, you could definitely label them as equal lows, but really you want like one where prices came back to revisit a region and then put it in as like an equal high or low. You can see that there. I'd be very surprised, obviously, if we don't go after them 2 equal lows at some point. Not financial advice, of course, just basic observation over the years. But yeah, thank you very much for joining today, everyone. Please do make sure you drop a like on the stream if you haven't. I hope you have a great Friday. Hope you have a great weekend. Of course, I'll be in the Discord as well. If anyone, urgently wants to grab my attention, just at me, or I'll obviously be popping in there over the weekend. Do make sure, please come and watch my latest video if you haven't. Watch it all the way through if you can, or at least like 3 or 4 minutes. Drop a like on it, drop a comment. And yeah, we'll see where obviously Bitcoin is come Monday's stream. I'll be back streaming on Monday. So yeah, have a good one, everyone. Thank you again, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.